Alhamdulillah, first of all, we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His grace and mercy that we are here today. I'm going to share with you, I think, just a little bit of the milestone that we have in Malaysia, the development of Islamic finances in Malaysia, and I think there are some very recent development which I'm going to share with you, inshallah, particularly regarding the law that we have changed, you see, in order to accommodate a few things, which I think nowhere else in the world that this thing has been done. Okay, first, in terms of we started Islamic finance in 1983 with the establishment of the first Islamic bank in Malaysia. Now, I think the unique thing about when we started Islamic bank in Malaysia is that before we start the bank, we have the law. Okay, in 1983 we have the IBA, Islamic Banking Act, 1983, and then 84 we have the Takaful Act 1984. So that was the basis for the establishment of the Islamic Bank in Malaysia. And in that particular act, you can see that there are clauses which reiterate the power of the Shariah Committee. At that juncture, we have Shariah Committee. We do not have any Shariah Advisory Council at the central level. So, that was the first model, that we have a full-fledged Islamic bank. Okay, that was about 10 years. Okay, and then only banks are allowed to open what is called an Islamic windows. Okay, the conventional have Islamic windows. When first we started the Islamic window, we do not call them Islamic bank. I remember at that time we used the term non-interest banking scheme. Okay, in Malay SPTF, scheme perbankan tanpa faedah. Okay, that was the I would say the thinking at that particular time. You see, because the conventional bank is also having the Islamic windows, and then that has evolved up to the year 2005, in which the central banks start giving license, you see, to transform the windows into a full-fledged Islamic bank, what we call as Islamic subsidiaries. Okay, so we have the subsidiary, meaning that you have the holding company, you have the conventional entity, you have the Islamic entity. Both have their board of directors. Meaning that as two separate entities. So that has evolved. Now, in terms of Shariah, we have the Shariah Advisory Council of Bank Negara Malaysia, the Central Bank of Malaysia. This is the model that we have taken in Malaysia, in which we have the central board. Okay, and at the bank level, all the banks have their own Shariah committee. We call it SC, Shariah Committee, and the central one, we call it Shariah Advisory Council. Now, and another unique thing in Malaysia is that one scholar is only allowed to sit on one industry. Okay, meaning that, of course, I myself, I am on the Shariah Advisory Council of Bank Negara, of the central bank. I'm not allowed to sit on any banks, any takaful company, because I'm at the regulatory body. Okay, so meaning that I have one only on the. But for other scholars who are in the industry, they are allowed to sit on one bank and one takaful company, because these are the two industries that is regulated by the central bank. Both, the insurance takaful industry is, and also the banking industry is regulated by the central bank. So we have, okay, one scholar can sit in only one industry. Okay, so that is, I think the process start in 2005 when this come in enforcement. Even though at that particular juncture we have a lot of criticism. You see, people said that we don't have enough scholars, blah blah. Okay, but I think we bulldozed the whole thing. And alhamdulillah, now we have more than 100, almost 200 scholars. Okay, that is in the market nowadays, right? So I think that how we build the capacity of the scholars, meaning that we are giving the opportunity to learn Because from my humble experience, being a Shariah advisor, my PhD is in Usulul Fiqh, principle of Islamic finance, Islamic law. You see, I'm not a person who is graduated as a Muamalah scholar. You see, but I think through my experience sitting on Shariah board and whatnot, I developed the skill, attending conferences, attending workshops and whatnot. So I can use my Usul Fiqh knowledge, okay, to apply it into Muamalah, into resolving the issue. So that how, you see, we hope that we can develop the scholars. So Alhamdulillah, now we have pool of scholars that is sitting on the Shariah board. Okay, 2009, there was the amendment to the Central Bank Act. Okay, in that amendment, one particular amendment that I would like to highlight here is that it is mandatory for the court to follow the written decision of the National Sharia Advisory Council. Because, when it comes to Sharia issues, there are different views, different interpretations. And it has happened in the market in Malaysia even. There was one case at one time. You see, the court has taken the view which is different from the view that is taken by the National Sharia Advisory Council, and that has created, some sort of uncertainty in the market. Of course, courts, they are free. The judges, they are free to take legal expert and whatnot. You see, to take the expert view. You see, so sometimes, of course, they will source. Somebody might give them different view, because when it comes to matters related to Muamalah, you can have more than one view, different view. So that's why in 2009, okay, it has been made mandatory for the court to follow whatever written decision that is made by the National Sharia Advisory Council. Even though, this was challenged in the court itself. You see, because they say there is an interference, judiciary, the executive is interference in the taking the power of the judiciary. But when it goes to the appeal court, you see, the appeal court upheld, you see, the earlier decision which says that yes, SAC, the Sharia Advisory Council, have the authority, because it is just like, the expert opinion that is being given, and given the situation of the industry, in which you cannot afford to have uncertainty in the industry. So it was upheld. So now in the Sharia Advisory Council of the Central Bank, apart from discussing the issues of Sharia and whatnot, we are also receiving, you see, queries from the court, you see, in which we have to provide our view, particularly on those issues in which there is no clear decision by the Sharia Advisory Council. Earlier decision by the Sharia Advisory Council. That's why we have already compiled. You see, you can go to even our website, ISRA website. You can go to the Central Bank website, Securities Commission website. You can see that there is the compilation of the Sharia resolution. You see, we use the term resolution. We don't use the term fatwa in Malaysia, simply because in Malaysia, the only body, based on according to the constitution, the only body that is allowed to issue fatwa are the State Fatwa Council. Right? The State Fatwa Council, they are the only body that is allowed to issue fatwa. That's why we don't use the term fatwa. In Islamic finance in Malaysia, we don't use the term fatwa. Rather, we use Sharia resolution, Sharia decision. You see, because there is some sensitivity, so in order to avoid that. Okay, that is one. Okay, the last one that I want to highlight to you is that 2013, we have another law, what we call as Islamic Financial Services Act, IFSA. This is both. For the conventional, they have FSA, Financial Services Act, 2013, and for the Islamic, we have Islamic Financial Services Act, meaning that there are two separate law. Okay, even though there are certain elements in which there are common between the two, but we have these two. Now the striking thing in Islamic Financial Services Act is that I think through our discussion, you see, with the central bank, we need people to change their mind when doing Islamic. Okay, when you do Islamic, meaning that you do Islamic. When you are doing Mudarabah, as an example, you have to take the risk. You have to take the risk. You cannot just lump the risk to one party like what we are seeing nowadays. Okay, usually, I mean, banks, I mean, the tendency is that banks do not want to take any risk. Even when they do musyarakah, they will embed the wa'ad in order to pass all the risk to the other party. Okay, now with the introduction of the Islamic Financial Services Act, each and every Sharia contract will have to follow the spirit of the contract. Meaning that if you are doing mudarabah, you are doing mudarabah. You have to share the risk, you have to share the risk. You cannot pass the risk to one party. So, I mean, this, we hope, will change the way people think when they are doing Islamic bank. You see? But because before this, I think the way people think is that they will always fall back to how they do things in conventional. Meaning that the banks are not going to take any risk. Okay, but with the new model that we have, even though because the act comes into force, so now it's a very hot period, I would say. We are always getting the resistance from the bankers. You see, even some even threatened. They say we are going to close our Islamic. You see, because of the new act, they just cannot accept the changes. But I hope, inshallah, of course, I mean, anything new that you do, any changes that you do, of course, I mean, you are going to face with the resistance. So we hope that, you see, with the introduction of this new act, in which this act, we at ISRA, we are developing the Sharia standard for all the contracts together with the central bank. So the act, you see, will use, it is mentioned in the act that all the contracts will be used together with the standard that is being issued by the central bank, and also there will be an operating manual, okay, operating standard that also will be issued by the central bank. So we are developing the Sharia standard, the central bank is developing the operation manual. So we hope that, you see, that will change, you see, the way we do Islamic, meaning that when we will follow the spirit. That is one. The second thing that I would like to highlight on the act is that Sharia scholars, they are also accountable for what they do. You see, in the past, I mean, there was no clear indication on this. So now with the new act, you see, even Sharia scholars, they can be sued, they can go to court, and they can go to jail.
Very frightening to work.
Scary mufti now.
Okay, they can be fined up to 10 million. You see, 10 million Malaysia is about more than $3 million. Okay, it's not a small money, right? I mean, they can be fined. I mean, because at the end of the day, for us, what is important is that each and everyone have to be accountable for whatever they do. You see, I mean, so the level of accountability of Sharia scholars and the board of directors and whatnot is the same. All right, if those people can go to jail, if there is any negligence or not on their part, then the Sharia scholars are also liable, just like any other. So this sometimes this also have brought shiver to the to the scholars. In fact, in one of the forums that we have dialogue with the scholars, I mean, they were, asking, I mean, how, why, I mean, this thing comes into force. I mean, of course, I mean, I was asked, even by Bloomberg and whatnot, I said that, when it comes to accountability, everyone has to be accountable. You see, and furthermore, if you are a scholar, okay, if there is any negligence on your part and whatnot, why you are not accountable if, other people, you see, do mistake, I mean, they have to be responsible for their mistake. Sharia scholars also, same should be treated as the others. So it is a positive. So I hope that this kind of development will bring the industry to another height, inshallah, and we can progress further, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم عليكم. they have taken more than 10 minutes.